As I'm sure you're aware by now, EA recently released their financial reports for Q3 fiscal year 2018. Among the things that we learned was that Star Wars Battlefront 2 sales underperformed by a significant margin, selling a mere 7 million copies compared to the 13 million that Battlefront 1 shipped within the same time period. Despite blaming the loot box controversy for the lackluster performance, EA confirmed plans to reintroduce microtransactions into Battlefront 2 within the next few months, stating that they believe live services will provide players with a very important element of choice that can extend and enhance the experience of our games. Translation: live services made us a shit ton of money this quarter, even more so than last year, so you can bet your ass that we'll keep milking this cash cow, even at the expense of a game's integrity and the player experience. We also got confirmation that Anthem would in fact be delayed to 2019, which was originally reported by Jason Schreier via the investigative article that he published on website Kotaku prior to EA's announcement. Now, EA is trying really hard to sell the story that all is well with Anthem's development, with CFO Blake Jorgensen insisting that Anthem's delay from fall 2018 to early 2019 isn't really a delay and that people are just trying to make up stories. Brushing aside the fact that Jorgensen doesn't seem to understand what a delay is, if there is one thing that Jason's article made clear after talking to numerous BioWare sources, it's that a fall 2018 release window was never realistic to begin with, and that Anthem's development has been anything but smooth sailing due to technical issues with the Frostbite engine, sudden shufflings of top executives within the studio, low morale and anxiety from recent controversies surrounding titles like Battlefront 2 and Destiny 2, and immense pressure from the fact that the studio's fate may very well be riding on Anthem's success. To make a long story short, while EA earned handsomely from ventures like FIFA and its live service elements, there was also a lot that went awry for the publisher in 2017, throwing a few wrenches in EA's plans. Now, among the affected plans may have been the roadmap for Star Wars Battlefront 3. So normally, EA would release a new Battlefront entry every 2 years, alternating with Battlefield. If we look at how the publisher spaced their games out over the past few years, we saw Battlefront 1 release in November 2015, Battlefield 1 release in October 2016, and Battlefront 2 in November 2017, and EA recently confirmed that the next Battlefield entry will release in October 2018. Following this pattern, Battlefront 3 should be launching in November 2019, which would put it in line with Star Wars Episode 9's December 20th, 2019 release date. But it seems as though this is not how things will play out, as EA has expressed uncertainty over what the Battlefront series timeline looks like moving forward. Here's what EA CFO Blake Jorgensen said during the latest financial briefing call. "We have not obviously announced product for our fiscal 2020 yet, but remember that we have a Star Wars action game that the Respawn team has been working on for the last couple of years, and most likely that would drop in fiscal 2020 versus another Battlefront. We haven't decided exactly timing for another Battlefront yet, but clearly the next big Star Wars game would be the action game in fiscal 2020. You may recall that Respawn is the studio responsible for the acclaimed Titanfall series, who EA acquired on November 2017 in a deal worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Prior to the acquisition, back in May 4th, 2016, the publisher announced Respawn would be helming a brand new Star Wars project, though no specifics were provided beyond that it's a third-person action-adventure game. There hasn't been a single peep about the project since, but we now know that the game will take over what should have been Battlefront 3's time slot and launch sometime in fall 2019. EA didn't clarify if this was always the plan or if things changed in response to Battlefront 2's less than stellar critical and commercial performance, but I'm personally willing to bet on the latter scenario. I believe that if Battlefront 2 would have been a runaway success, EA would have expressed more enthusiasm about following up with a third Battlefront entry, one that would leverage the hype surrounding Star Wars' 9th episode. But with Battlefront 2 making them much less money than anticipated, they'll likely work on salvaging Battlefront 2 from a financial standpoint before moving on to Battlefront 3. EA could also be thinking that with the current turbulent climate surrounding an angry gaming community, it might be better to wait a few more years until the storm passes before trying to sell us another sequel of what is now a disgraced brand that has royally fucked up twice in a row. With Battlefront 1 being rushed to release incomplete with ridiculous pricing models for its DLCs, and with Battlefront 2 employing the most predatory and manipulative loot box system ever conceived in a AAA title, the Battlefront name has been forever tarnished and has become synonymous with failure in the eyes of gamers. So perhaps their train of thought is that Battlefront 3 will be an easier pill to swallow years down the line, that we might be in a more forgiving mood then. But I don't think anyone would ever forget Battlefront 2, a game that single-handedly instigated enough ire from the gaming community to draw the attention of government officials around the world. I think it's safe to say that when Battlefront 3 does inevitably get announced, a lot of people will approach it with an air of caution and distrust. But that announcement looks to be a long ways off. In the meantime, the next EA Star Wars game we can look forward to cautiously is Respawn's third-person action game. I would be more optimistic considering Respawn does have a good track record, but now that EA has fully acquired the studio, I can't help but feel as though they're headed down a slippery slope. These are just one man's thoughts and opinions anyway. I'd love to hear what your take is on all of this in the comments below. With that, I would like to end this news update. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you found this video informative, and if you enjoy my content, consider supporting me on Patreon. It is completely optional, but it will go a long way in helping this channel grow. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Yong Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Yong out.